for another live Q&A with BA and Praise. And listen, today, Praise has informed me. We're going to talk about influence, but not in the way that you think, right? Influence should be converted to income, right? And not only should influence be converted to income, but you should also have impact through that process. And so we're going to talk about how you have influence, impact, and income from doing one singular thing. And we're going to show you how to do that throughout the course of this conversation today. Praise. What's up, bro? I feel like we ain't talked in forever. I guess it's been a couple weeks. I was in the challenge last week, and so here we are.
Yes, sir, man. I'm happy to be back. How was the B day? You know, I gotta ask how everything went. How was
Bro,
that
I
week for you,
mean,
bro?
I mean, I spent my birthday serving on a challenge. You know what I'm saying? Like the B day, and not only my B day, but me and my wife got the same birthday. We just 2 years apart, and so yeah, I was working, serving on a challenge doing our birthdays. But I mean, we went to South Florida the week before our 18-year anniversary coming up on the 6th of October. So we going to the Dominican Republic down to our place in Punta Cana we like going to.
Okay.
And so, we get it in. But nonetheless, on our birthday, I was doing a challenge, helping other coaches and consultants make their life better. You know what I'm saying? That's what I spent my birthday. And in the grand scheme, bro, at 42 now, it's kind of like, what else we doing, right? I mean,
Right.
what else we doing? I had a lot of fun in my day, right? Not to say I don't still like to have a good time, but I'd have had plenty on birthdays. And yeah, last week was different too, bro. Like the group that we had, they worked us. Like we go late anyway, just because we got so much to give during that week. But last week was extraordinary. We was ending, the session's supposed to end at 8 o'clock every day. We were ending like 8:45, like almost every day, bro. And yeah, it was good though. I mean, it's what the people required, and this is what we gave them.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I love to hear that, man. And yeah, man, it's been too long. You know, you the man that I was waiting to talk to. You know, I look forward to these Thursdays. So yeah, man, let's get right into it. Let's get right
Yeah.
into it.
By the way, let us know for everybody watching. Let us know in the chat if you guys can hear us. Okay. I got to reposition this mic. This thing over here dangling. I'm listening to you though.
Yes, sir. So first question is, what's the difference between popularity and influence?
So the devil can make you popular, but God will give you influence.
Mm,
That's a good start. You know what
great
I'm
stuff.
saying? Like, it's you could be popular for all the wrong reasons, right? A lot of the time, especially in this like online marketing space, online sales space, we talk a lot about the word authority, right? You want to make sure that people know you as an authority, this, that. But having true authority is really not having to flex the authority muscle. It should be that your influence is so strong that it complements your authority, that people are influenced to do things as opposed to have you flex your authority to get them to do it. I shouldn't have to tell you what to do, right? I should be able to show you and influence your behavior through my behavior that you will want to do those things.
Yeah, that's good. So basically, what you're saying is your character should do the talking.
1000%.
Mm,
1000%. It should be the loudest thing. Well, truth is, it will be the loudest thing. Good character, bad character. Like your character will be the loudest thing. What's up, Mike? And man, I'm gonna be honest, right? For me, this is probably one of my thorns that I
mhm.
have to be reminded of, right? While yes, I'm grateful and content with where God has me right now in this season, right? I'm grateful for all the lives we impacting. I'm grateful for the revenue that the business does. Like I'm grateful for all of that. But when I open up that phone on certain days, bro, and I see my quote unquote counterparts, and I'm like, it's tough sometimes, to think of like how much more reach, impact, influence I believe that we should have based on what we're doing versus what I see others doing, and the type of reach, level of impact. It bothers me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I have to, I really have to seek God on that to keep my flesh down. You know what I'm saying? Because in those cases, I'm kind of like, man, what's up? You know what I mean? Like, God, what we waiting on? You know what this is. This ain't that. Like, what? So what we waiting on? Why are we here? Why are they there? Right? But I'm reminded of that very truth that the devil makes people popular. God gives people influence. And so I'll take my influence over popularity any day because of the impact that we have and as a result of the influence that we have on the market. And Galatians 6:9 says, don't grow weary in well doing, because at the appropriate time you will reap a harvest. So it's all on God's time and it's all up to him when it happens. And in the interim, just being able to remind yourself that just because people are popular don't mean it's of God either.
Mm, that's good. So, and I want to touch on that a little more. How do you, and I know you referenced to Galatians 6:9, but um, like you said, the popularity at times bothers you. Like it even with me, it's bothered me a lot just seeing the content that gets popular and the content that doesn't get popular. It's like what,
Mm-hmm.
it's like entertainment over education.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you manage that? I know you referred to Galatians 6:9, but what other practical things do you do to help yourself to just keep doing good?
Well, it's funny. You get to a point in life, as I have, to where I know the consequence of doing bad, right? So it's like it's like what what do you do? What do you do but keep doing like it you bro, you get to a place where you realize I got to call who I need to call. I need to vomit where I need to vomit. I need to trip out. I need to have my fit, right? Throw my tantrum and then get back to doing good. Cause the alternative ain't gonna work. Like, yeah, you can take a shortcut, you could run a play, you can manipulate, like you could do a lot of different things, but the end result is it's still only gonna happen on his time if it's from him. Now,
Mm,
yeah, seed and harvest is principle, so we could put some seed in the ground and go make a harvest happen. But the quality of that harvest is always gonna be representative of the quality of the seed that you sowed. And that's the other part. You don't know behind the scenes what type of backhanded deals people doing, and it's we make a lot of jokes about the Illuminati in society, but bro, put it this way: for everything there's a rumor about, there's some truth to something surrounding that, right?
right.
So while it may not be an Illuminati in the way in which it's presented, but it's people that get together that have a lot of authority, right? And they have people do things in order to be able to glean from the resources and all the things, right? That's a real thing. We call it the Illuminati by making jokes of it, but all I'm saying is that you have no idea what people are willing to do to get to where they at.
That
And
part.
without knowing that, I would venture to say it's probably far too expensive,
Mm,
right?
right.
Like it was I'm trying to think of who it was. It was Terrence Howard. I saw him on Patrick Bet Davis show one day, right? And him and PBD were talking about this, and Terrence Howard was like, "Yeah, it's only so far I'm gonna go as an actor because I'm just unwilling to do certain things." And PBD like, "What do you mean?" Good journalist. He just walking him into it, and he was like, "Man, once somebody take your manhood, there's no coming back from that. I don't care how much money you get, what roles you get as a result of that. Like, you are not escaping the fact that you allowed somebody to do that to you, and I ain't let nobody do that to me, right?"
Right.
That's an extreme example, but I'm just saying you, you have no idea the prices that people are willing to pay to be in the positions that they've been placed in.
Right.
And so that's what I mean by it's for me, it's like, no, you just got to keep having faith. You got to keep trusting. God reminds us all through scripture that everything happens according to his time, right? And when he blesses you, when he gives you the influence, can't nobody turn it off. So for me, Yeah, it's frustrating, but then rather than look at what you don't have, then you got to focus on who am I making an impact on? Who life did I change today? Right? In what way did God use me? And I was just reading in I think it was Zechariah last night because I'm reading the Bible straight through this year, bro. By the way, we we in October almost, and I'm still in the Old Testament. I'm like, dog, this is crazy. So anyway, I digress. But no, and God was literally in Zechariah talking about don't despise the day of small beginnings, right? So he loves us being in that like obscure small beginning place because it's where our character is developed. See, when they say that the meek shall inherit the earth, a lot of people associate meekness with weakness. That's not true. Meekness is having the power and then submitting it to God and knowing how to use it.
Mm,
So meekness ain't weakness. Meekness is that I know I'm him, but yet I still submit it to God's authority.
that's
So,
good.
that's that's I think that's part of what happens when you in this like obscure small beginning stage is where like you know what your capabilities are and your capacity are, but yet at the very same time you got to submit it to God's authority and say, I mean, you know the appropriate time better than me. But at the same time, being sensitive enough to make sure you're not passing over opportunities either,
Mm,
right? Because the same could be true. You could identify and understand all of that, but then have imposter syndrome that's keeping you from. He like, I didn't open doors. They cracked. You just got to push them open to go see,
mm.
right? So like, don't blame me for why you in this obscure position. I'm not keeping you in obscurity in this season. You keeping you in obscurity. Like I agree with you. You are ready. Okay, cool. So which one of them doors you gonna go through? So I think it's both handed in that regard, right? You got to always be checking in and staying in constant dialogue and really evaluating your situation to say, am I trying to get through every single door I possibly can, or am I foregoing some because I'm having imposter syndrome?
That's good.
Let us know in the chat if that resonated with anybody. Just I'm curious.
That's good. Yeah, you talking today. And now I wanted to ask you because we have so many conversations offline, so I get the privilege of seeing sides of your character that other people don't see. And I wanted to ask you, what are some of the key foundations of of influence, of building lasting influence? What are some of the key foundations you need to have to build lasting influence?
Bro, integrity, integrity, integrity. Like integrity to me is what do you do when nobody's watching? Forget like when the camera on, like what do you do when nobody's watching? That's integrity. And can you show up as that person regardless of what the circumstances are, regardless of what the stakes are? Are you only faith based around faith based people, or are you the light even in the dark? That type of thing, right? Do you fly your flag regardless of the situation, circumstances, and who involved?
That's
Or are
really
you changing? Or are you changing costumes in every room you go in? Like to me, that's gotta be numero uno in the order. It's gotta be integrity first if you want to have lasting influence.
that's good, B. It's funny that you say that because I would read about integrity in the Bible, not having no idea what integrity even meant because I grew up in a church where we would read about integrity and then you acting totally different when you coming out of church, or you saying this about this one person, but then you go into church and you in their face. So it's so funny because it's like the same thing they were screaming at me in the Bible, they weren't living by. So it was easy to not be a man of integrity because
Mm-hmm.
that's all I was seeing. Um, so then now that God blesses me with this opportunity to be put in front of you, it's like You Brian like this on the camera, you Brian like this off the camera. You know what I'm saying? But
The
I
only thing that's different between me on camera and off camera is I think they don't get everything,
right,
right?
right,
And the only reason for that is because certain things only happen in context.
right.
Like contrary to me being very serious, I'm also very funny, right?
100%. I
And
agree.
so they don't get a lot of that because in context of the conversation, my humor is different, right? So my humor oftentimes flows in the midst of the context that we are currently in. Like the whole situation with your car. Like I was crying laughing that whole night. You know what I'm saying? When your car got towed. So, but they would have had to been there in that context. And so I think through these conversations they seeing it more than they probably do on my micro content. Because when I
Right.
show up, I'm trying to feed the people, right? I'm not here to entertain or try to make myself the focal point, right? Because none of it is about me. I oftentimes reference that about the Bible and the characters in it. We glorify David for what he did with Goliath. We glorify uh Moses. We glorify Abraham. These are just characters that God used to show us how he used the least likely to do the most, right? If we misconstrue that, then we miss the point of the Bible. Because there's a book of praise, there's a book of Brian, there's a book of Mike, there's a book of whoever's on here right now that's being written. The question is yours 2 pages or 25 chapters?
Mm.
We're talking about influence, right? So based on your ability, capacity, willingness to allow him to work through you in the form of influence will probably be the determining factor on just how much is written in your chapter. But it ain't about us. It's about what do we do for others, right? Jesus was a servant king. He came to earth to show us that. He washed the feet of his disciples to show us that like that's what it's all about is serving our assignment. So it ain't about how great I am. It's about how great I help you be.
That's a word right there. That's good, B. And yeah, that's good. It's really that last thing that you said. It's not about me. It's about how great you helped me become because and it's so funny. All the people that I either admire or that I deem as a role model are all people who've helped me become great.
Mm.
It is not a person who I'm just entertained by. Um, and even like, for example, like when I used to play sports, and I'm playing basketball, none of those like, and no shade to obviously the NBA players, but I couldn't deem them as a role model because like we're not having these conversations. They're just playing the sport. So they're
Mm-hmm.
not telling me nothing. It's until that I've heard some of their mindsets that I'm like, okay, I'm gonna take that. But it's like all the people that I deem as a role model or that I deem as a great people in my life are all people who have helped me become great. Um,
Facts. As
so
it should
I
be.
yeah,
As it should be. If somebody ain't contributing to my embetterment, my ecosystem, I can't even call you friend, let
mm,
alone a role model. You got to be stimulating my economy in some kind of way. My spiritual economy, my emotional economy, my financial economy. Like you got to be somehow you got to be making a contributing factor in my life for me to even call you friend or somebody that I look up to or glean from.
100%. 100%. And this next question that I have, I know you're gonna have something good for this. Is what are some
By the way, everybody here, right? Put your questions in the chat if you guys got questions as well. Okay, this is a
100
Q&A for all parties involved.
100%. Yeah, and this next question is what are some mistakes people make when trying to build influence?
Bro, exactly that. The number one mistake that people make when trying to build influence is trying to build influence.
Mm,
That's the number one mistake.
please elaborate. That's so good.
So when I got on social media in 2018, I knew nothing about any of this. At that time, I was about to turn 35. That was also our first $1 million year. And but I knew, like, I was, bro. I come from a context where you get money, stay out the way, you stay in the background, right? I grew up West Side Detroit. Uh, my first go at entrepreneurship was not something that you would publicly broadcast. You get in trouble for those things, right? So that's just kind of the all. But that became like muscle memory. So in every context, it was like, yeah, just get money, stay out the way. I wish I'd have known now what I like back then. I wish I would have known then what I know now. Cause bro, like I've been international trips, all the things since my young 20s. Like built my first house at 23 years old, 300,000. So like the stuff, but I wasn't capturing. Like I was just living that life. I wasn't thinking of one day this was gonna mean something to be able to share on social media, whatever. But the point is, when I got on social media, I was I had some clients that essentially at that time I was a part of a mastermind where people was paying a lot of money. I'm talking like 6 figure plus and still weren't getting deals out of this particular mastermind. Now I ain't had that problem. I came in, I bought 20 some deals my first year, raised over $1 million from strangers. Like I took the content and ran with it. So I couldn't understand how these people had spent almost twice as much as me and was doing nowhere near what I was doing. So I got to a point where I started having excess deal flow in my pipeline, right? I had more deals than I knew what to do with. And as a result, I just started organically helping people in that network, right? Hey, we'll wholesale you this deal, we'll make 5, 10K, we'll have our team do the rehab, flip it, and send you the money, right? So I did that for these guys out in San Diego. And they were like 22 at the time. They like, bro, this is bananas. Like, so I hadn't even met them yet in person, right? Sent them like a $30,000 check from their first deal. I fly out to San Diego to finally go meet them. While we out there, they're like, man, you need to turn this into like a coaching program or something.
Mm.
So that was still kind of foggy to me because I wasn't on social media, right? I wanted no parts of that. A couple things happened. Long story short, May of 2018, I get on Instagram. So at that time, those guys were influencing me in this new environment. I even know how to post. I knew how to do none of that, right? Well, I also didn't know how to market myself either. So what we did was called lifestyle marketing, right? The predominant bulk of our marketing became lifestyle marketing. So I live in Florida. My properties were 800 miles away in Detroit. My marketing team was 3,000 miles away in Cali. And so I was always crisscrossing between that triangle. So we'd be on yachts, we'd be renting uh, houses in Beverly Hills and Bentleys and all the things, right? At our shoots. I I don't know, right? Like I'm really naive. I think this is how I go. So we putting the stuff out, and it's working, by the way. Like clients coming in, all the things. And so this is answering your question of like what's the worst way to build influence, right? To me, that is the worst way to build influence. It becomes, to me, building your presence online and building influence should not feel like work. That all
Mm.
to me felt like work. Having to remember what to say, having to remember what to do, having it just was too much. You know what I mean? Renting out this and renting out that. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with renting a car. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with renting a yacht. We renting a yacht next month actually for our yacht mastermind, right? And I'm saying there's nothing wrong with those things, but it is something wrong with it if you got the wrong motive behind it.
Mm.
And at that point in time, I thought that lifestyle marketing was more important and more impactful than my own messaging because the people that I was with value lifestyle marketing more than messaging. When I stopped doing lifestyle marketing and started focusing more on messaging, I'm like, this is my superpower, not renting all this stuff and seeing Ty Lopez ride down the street in the, like, I'm grateful for the experience because I learned a lot. But I also remember how empty I felt during that time too, though.
Mm.
So outwardly, we were projecting this image, and people was into it, and even buying from us. But I could tell you that even the clients that we were attracting during that time wouldn't have been my ideal client either, though, because they was attracted to us for the wrong reasons. That's why I don't really like lifestyle marketing now. You got to show people a little bit so they believe you ain't broke, right? But it's I really don't like it because I found in my experience that it typically draw the wrong kind of client. I would rather a client be more drawn to my message and how my message impacts their lives in a positive way, helps them make more money, helps them be more productive citizens, all the things. Then let them come to me for that because it's a magnet either way it go, right? It's a lead magnet. Your content that you put out every day is a lead magnet. We may not view it that way, but it is though. It's gonna speak to what it's supposed to speak to, and it's gonna attract to what it's supposed to attract. That's why even when you see the people jumping up and down on Lambos and seemingly it look like they're the ones that's winning, and you like, oh, but I do credit and they do credit, so I'm not gonna be effective. It's like the person that you gonna get as a result of being who you are, and the person that they get is two different avatars. It's the same industry, but it's two different avatars.
That's good. That's good, B. I appreciate you breaking that down because I realized, and this is just me as I've just been, studying you more, studying business more, and all the things. It's like at a point, I think business owners have to ask themselves, entrepreneurs, like, do I want popularity or do I want influence?
Facts, bro. Facts.
Because at a point, I'm doing it and I'm like, it's not growing, but I'm like, I'm not thinking about who it's talking to. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I just want people to 100 likes, 100 thousands of comments, thousands of saves, but it's like you can still have all that and not have a business.
Oh,
You,
for sure.
you can have all of that and nothing grow. So
And you can have all of that and have a business that becomes a prison because now you look around and you like, I don't like none of these people. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right,
why am I here? This is crap. I just want to leave and let them have it. This is insane. Ask me how I know, right? I've been in that position before where you look up and you kind of like, I got all this money and I got no peace.
mm,
I don't like nan one of them. But now I'm obligated to serve them because they paid me. Like, that's a horrible position to be in.
insane. That's an insane position, man.
Speaking of
And
which,
this next,
right? We had something happen yesterday that hasn't happened in a very long time. So one of the things that we do when people are interested in coming into our Purpose to Profits coaching program is as much as possible, I try to talk to every single last one of the people. Okay. Why? Because we established a certain culture, we want to maintain a certain culture, and as a result of that, then you got to do some type of screening up front to ensure that you maintaining that to protect everyone else that's in it, right? As you can hear my war stories, this is something important to me, predicated on what happened to me in a previous life.
right?
And so yesterday, bro, I had the most bizarre call with a potential client. So it was a guy, he came through our challenge, he put down a deposit, he wanted to come in the program. So we talked to him earlier in the week, and he had his wife who was kind of, she wasn't all in, okay? But he 10 toes down. Just so happened, he just quit his job. If not now, then when? If not this, then what? Right? It's his time. It's his season. But at the very same time, his wife wasn't on board. So we don't make that a prerequisite, but if we know that up front, that's concerning for us. Okay. Particularly because number one, your marriage is your first business, which is why I require a license to do it. So even though my wife risk adverse, she ain't involved in none of my businesses, but she is involved in the overall grand scheme of business, right? Because it's our marriage. That's our first business. So I know the impact of what it looked like when your spouse ain't on board with what you're doing. And to different people, is varying degrees of that. Some could still lock in and go make it happen, and then eventually get the spouse on board. Others, that's a constant battle and distraction, and they ain't gonna never be able to succeed, right? Because in order to be successful at something, there's a season where there is no balance. You're only in focus. right? And you got to be in focus long enough to grow the thing large enough to then you can start to diversify and get some of your time back. One of the key principles behind making money is to get your time back. You're buying your time back, right? That's what we show our clients. Work 100 days a year to make 7 figures a year, right? Making meaningful money with margin. So I talked to my man. I'm like, look, how about we just get your wife on the call and then, let her ask her questions, hear things, um, firsthand, right? Because she wasn't there at the event. You heard things she didn't, all the things. And so he was like, okay, cool. So we set up the call. Bro, listen to me. This lady was the most rude, disrespectful woman who calls herself a believer that I probably come across in a very long. I don't know. I could count on 3 fingers how many I met like this in my life. She's one of them. She was disrespectful to us. She was disrespectful to him. And I was. It took everything in me to not give her what she wanted. You hear me? I'm talking about everything in me to not. And I, bro, bro, listen to me, man. Phew. At the conclusion of that call, I told the office, I was like, please refund him his money ASAP.
Wow.
Please refund him his money ASAP. Bro, look, that thing right there, I you know, I just pray for him. It I'm telling you, bro,
Wow.
it take a lot. You know where I come, bro. Like it
Right.
take a lot for me to get to that, and I'm like, I just as for context, okay. I ain't gonna give y'all all the context. I'm gonna give you some. After seeing how unequally the yoked that they were, right? I'm asking questions about vision cast and all the rest of it. She like, y- y'all three the only ones that know anything. Like, it's all this just chaos amongst them, as if they haven't talked about this at all, right? I see why though, but at the end of the call, the consensus was he was gonna try to get her to come to the next event so that she could see for herself, right? And so I'm like, you guys got any other questions? As we kind of wrap up. She was like, I ain't had no questions to start with. Bro, look, man. But here's what's sad about the situation though, bro. Here's what's sad
Man.
about the situation. Here's a guy who is probably in his early 50s that
Mm.
recently left his job, that just got a brand new vehicle in the midst of all of this, and got to figure out life, and was in an environment and had a spot held with a group of people that could help him bring his vision and dream to fruition in this season and set he and his family up so that he can have meaningful money with margin. She on the call complaining about the fact that he working 50, 60 hours a week on this thing and she ain't seeing no fruit from it because he ain't doing it right. You can't get it right if you understand it wrong. So you on the call with somebody that can help him get it right, and you so ignorant and arrogant that you totally forfeiting and aborting his opportunity to help fix y'all situation.
Mm.
But she can't get off of sitting on her MBA over there to have enough humility to listen. I'm trying to explain stuff to her. She cutting me off. I'm like, you know what? We only got one rule here. We ain't gonna fight nobody to help him. That's a principle for us. I'm not gonna fight you to help you. So as soon as that call concluded, man, he got an email letting them know we appreciate you having interest. This ain't gonna work. This ain't gonna work.
Man.
For somebody to be that disrespectful as she was publicly, you know, how, like, I don't put my wife in all the best situations, right? I remember what Lil Wayne said in the song one time. He said, "Look good for the public, leave the drama in the roads." Right? There's a certain decorum when you're a unit that even if one of us ain't vibing with it, we not gonna be disrespect because that's still a representation of us as a unit.
Right.
It was foul on so many levels, bro. You know what I mean? It was foul on so many levels, and I did. Once I got done with being mad last night, this morning I was praying because somebody said pray for them. This morning I was, I was, because I really had a chance to digest it all. Because I'm still 911. I'm recovering from clocking out. You know what I'm saying? Like that's
Yeah.
I'm in recovery of like being the guy that clock out. So when
Right.
she was trying, I said, oh, she don't even know she got the white one. You know what I'm saying? But got, and I'm good at many things. I'm an expert at that. Trust me. But but yeah, bro, it was but what I say is this, right? Because we talking about influence, we talking about integrity. You have to figure out what's your non-negotiables.
Mm.
And I knew that even if he moved forward in spite of her, right? That's a losing formula because she will disallow him to move in any level of peace to be able to go out and execute. It'd be a waste of his money and our time. So that's why we just killed the deal. And it opened up a spot for somebody else who's better suited, right?
Right.
But it's a certain level of peace at that point when you get to that place in your business where you ain't tripping about the money or the sale. Your focus is on making sure that you're in the right room with the right people that have the right heart and fit the culture to protect the culture at all costs.
Right.
You lose your culture, you got nothing. And that can't be compromised for nobody or for no cash. And it's tough because I know it leaves him in a very vulnerable spot, bro. But um, all you can do is pray for him, and you know, he know who he lying next to. He gonna have to figure that out. Watch this, because Ephesians 5:22 says, "Submit one to another out of reverence for Christ." But then it says, "Wives, submit to your husband. Husbands, love your wife as Christ loved the church." Right. So why did God tell us initially to submit one to another, but then remind us again, wives, submit to your husband? Because he know that the man needs respect above all else. So he's reminding the wife to to respect your husband, to submit to your husband, let him lead. So as long as Christ leading him. But then it's reminding the husband because men are more susceptible to not loving their wives properly. So then reminding the husband of their shortcoming and say, husband, love your wife as Christ loved the church. Well, Christ died for the church. That's pretty strong love, right? But if you ain't following that edict, bro, everything gonna be off in your situation called marriage. It don't work no other way.
Man, there was too many nuggets in there to pull out. Like this gonna be a great replay. Mike got a question though. And he said that it sounds like it is crucial to you to stay aligned to your mission with your messaging. And he said, what is something you do to practice that? That's the first question. So I'll let you answer that. And yeah, so he said, what is something you do to practice that? That's the first question he asked. And then, yeah, the other one is
So
see that
uh
missing. Yeah.
so how do I align my messaging to my mission?
Yes. He said it sounds like it is crucial to you. It sounds like it is crucial to you to stay aligned to your mission with your messaging. What is something you do to practice that?
Yeah. So the first thing is this. My brand is me, right? My brand is me. The mission is to make more marketplace ministers, right? Marketplace ministry. And I'm not saying that from an over spiritualized perspective. I'm talking about believers in business, right? I'm talking about helping more people be unapologetically them in the faith, be unapologetic about growing their businesses in their capacity so that they can really impact the kingdom. Because for whatever reason, we look at impacting the kingdom as, and I hate to say it, but most of the broke people that sit in the four walls of the church. That ain't how you impact the kingdom, right? How do you influence somebody? It's even a scripture in the Bible that talks about how the poor man could have something good to say, but nobody will listen to him. It's in the text. I need to find that scripture, matter of fact, because that's a good one. It talks about how I think it's in Ecclesiastes where Solomon talks about how, if somebody in the chat knows, let me know. But talks about how if you're poor, that people don't listen to you even when you got something good to say. So what does that mean? That means that more believers who have the ability should be maximizing that ability so that they can have true influence. Think about it. If I don't know nothing about God, don't like God, I'm an atheist, whatever, I'm far off. Or even if I'm curious about him. And everybody that seemingly is spiritual, that love the Lord, are broke, then what would that make me think about God? So how could his word preach abundance, but then everybody I see that follow him is broke? So I'm off about that. So my mission is to help as many believers in business reach their level of success so that they can have true impact over people in the marketplace and still fulfill the Great Commission, which is to go out in the world and make more disciples.
That's
The
good.
biggest mission field is the marketplace. So in saying that, bro, it's easy to keep my messaging on the mission because I'm clear about the mission. So every time I open my mouth, I know that I'm trying to signal to those people on how to help them in every area of their life that I know will help them become the person to do the thing to have the stuff. Right? I also know that I may be the only Bible that some people will ever read. So I'm conscious of that as well in my messaging, that I'm not overly spiritualizing all my message to where it then repels people, who that may just seem a little bit too exotic for them. Right? So I'm establishing who I am in the marketplace. I'm not shying away from that, but I'm still a normal dude that you're gonna catch on the yacht having a cigar too. Right? Like I'm gonna do all the things. Now I ain't running around drunk and all those things. I stopped doing those things, right? But I just wanna show up as me. I am a believer in business who's unapologetic about making millions of dollars and helping millions of people. And those are the people that I'm trying to signal to. So I think I don't even consciously think about my messaging a lot of the time. I just, because you know how I am. If we cut these cameras off right now, me and you will be having a very similar conversation.
100%.
Right? I'm gonna get you some scripture. I'm gonna feed you the same way I'm feeding you right now in front of everybody. So for me, nothing changes really, other than the intentionality behind what message specifically am I trying to convey in this video as I'm shooting it. What's that?
You
So yeah, let me put this up here.
Ecclesiastes 9:16.
Ecclesiastes 9:16. So even though wisdom is better than strength, those who are wise will be despised if they are poor. What they say will not be appreciated for long. That's exactly the point I was making, right? And how true is that? A lot of broke believers running around trying to influence people, but it's like, I get it, but okay, so why ain't you did none of that stuff in the Bible? And why ain't you walking around in abundance? And why ain't you yada yada yada? And why ain't you leaving inheritance for your children? And why? So that's what I'm talking about.
That's so
The
good.
disconnect in the kingdom right now. Like, let us be billboards of what God really is advertising.
That's good.
And the biggest place that we can affect change in that is the marketplace.
Yeah, you just touched on it. You really just peeled back a whole nother layer on integrity too, because like you said, we would be having the same conversation, cameras on or off. Like you
Right.
always.
This is how I talk. You know what I
Right.
mean? This is how I talk. Now it's more structured and formulaic based off of where and how I'm delivering it for what purpose, but
For sure.
it's the same language though.
For sure.
I quit cussing in 2019 when I quit drinking, right? So it ain't like I'm switching my language and all. Like it is what it is. And so
Right.
because I'm clear on the mission, I've made certain lifestyle adjustments to allow me to just be one way all the time.
100%.
I'm gonna run that back. I think that's very important. What I just said, because I'm aware of my mission, I made lifestyle adjustments that just allow me to always stay on mission.
Mm.
I quit drinking in January 6, 2019, at the same time of which I stopped cussing. I made lifestyle adjustments to align with the mission by which I believe God was calling me on. So I started to simplify my life. I didn't want to be posting scriptures by day and drinking and partying by night. I'm not knocking those that do it, by the way, right? This was something that I felt God tapped me on the shoulder and was like, bro, I need that. You had your fun with it. I need that. So I gave it to him. At the same time I gave him the potty mouth that I had. While very entertaining for folks, it was giving me the glory, not him.
Mm. That's good. That's good. And listen, man, we got a chat full of questions.
Okay, let's keep rolling. You know I be
Yeah,
talking.
yeah, yeah.
Let's keep rolling.
No, you good. You good. You was
You know how
elaborating.
to
So I want
you know how to pop them up on the screen. You see that button that says show on stream.
let me see. See, I see them from because I'm also on it on another device as well.
Oh, you on
So
YouTube? Got it. Okay, I
yeah,
got
so
it.
I do. Yeah,
I'm gonna pop them up here. You let me know if I miss one. Okay.
yeah. So that's the reason why I'm saying I can see it on this end. So I was gonna go to the next one, which was MS. MS said, "Do you also have expertise in tax deed purchase approach? That looking to get back into real estate to see profits as soon as possible and continuing to build." So
Got it. Yeah, I don't do I so first of all, I don't coach real estate no more. But even when I did, my specificity was raising capital, investing remotely, fix and flip wholesale cash flow. I don't do any tax deeds. So not
okay.
your guy on that one.
The next one, this is relationship coaching with the Christ lifestyle, and he asked, how does a person know when they are over teaching when hosting a challenge or webinar?"
That's a really good question. So one good indicator of whether or not you over teaching on a challenge or a webinar is that nobody buying your offer at the end. That's the best, bro. I'm not playing with you. The best indicator to know if you're over teaching on a webinar or a challenge is that nobody's buying the offer in the end. If people ain't taking your offer, it's because you over teaching.
Mm.
Either you over teaching or they underwhelmed. One of the two, right? If you over teach them, they ain't gonna buy, and if they underwhelm, they ain't gonna buy. So I don't want people to think though that means that you're not teaching them anything. It's not that you're not teaching them anything. You're just not teaching them the right thing. So there's a book that talks about how you can't teach a kid how to ride a bike in a seminar, right? Which David affectionately quote all the time. And it's true. It takes time, right? You gotta first get them used to riding with the training wheels on. Then you got to take one side of the training wheels off, let them get used to that for a minute. Then you got to take the other side of the training wheels off and let them get used to not having no no more bumper, right? And then they got to fall a few times to then figure out their rhythm to keep the bike rolling. So same is true when you having a webinar or a challenge. You can't teach them how to do what you do in that short period of time. It's just not logical. If I've been doing what I'm doing for 10 years, How can I teach you in an hour and a half how to do that? It don't even make logical sense. So if I even make an effort to do that, then I'm gonna overload you, and you're gonna be overloaded and exhausted at the end of this conversation. And you know what overloaded and exhausted people do?
Don't buy.
That's right. That's exactly what they do. They don't buy because they overloaded and exhausted. And as much as people like to run around with a badge of honor, the reality is everybody wants the least path of resistance to get what they want. It ain't that people don't want six-pack abs, bro. They don't want to go to the gym. If they could wake up and order some abs on Amazon, they have them here tomorrow. They want them. If they could wake up and order abs on Amazon tomorrow, they would get them. They want the abs. They don't want to go to the gym, do the work. So here's what you do. You have to understand that when people come to you based on your marketing. So let's just say as an example, okay? Let's just say as an example, since the guy bought up real estate, let's say I got a real estate offer. And I'm gonna teach you on this webinar the top 5 mistakes most real estate investors are making when trying to invest in whatever. Okay. So who's gonna come to that? People that are concerned about not making the top 5 mistakes when investing in real estate. Is that fair? Is that a fair assumption? If the title of my webinar is the top 5 mistakes that real estate investors make when trying to do XYZ, let's just say trying to build out $1 million business, then the likelihood is that I'm gonna get new people that don't know how to invest yet, that want to avoid the mistakes. I'm gonna get current people that are investing that haven't made $1 million yet, but they're trying to make sure that they're not making the biggest mistakes. And then I may just get just random people, right? That just do random stuff every day, right? Random learners. Is all that fair assumption so far? Okay. So then on that webinar, why would I teach them how to build $1 million business? When I told them these are the top 5 mistakes that people are making when trying to build $1 million business. So my goal for that webinar is to help them avoid those 5 mistakes. So I'm delivering. I'm not gatekeeping. I'm delivering exactly on my promise. I'm also understanding that if they haven't built $1 million business yet, then likely they haven't become the person to do that, because you got to become the person to do the thing to have the stuff. So part of what I'm doing on that webinar is helping to remove the blockage that's keeping them from becoming the person to do the thing. Mm. So I'm teaching them the five mistakes and how to avoid them. I'm helping them overcome limiting beliefs, stinking thinking, poor habits, lack of systems. I'm helping them overcome all those things on the webinar. And then at the end of the webinar, I'm gonna make them an offer that then will allow them to go deeper with me in another segment. Why? Because I only got an hour. But I solved the first problem I promised them when they came there. Does that make sense?
100%.
So what happens is people have these webinars, and part of the reason why they end up over teaching is because their promise to people is, I'm gonna show you how to make $1 million in 12 months. So guess what you got to do now? Show them how to make $1 million in 12 months. As opposed to, and this, by the way, everybody on here, this is a freebie, but we teach this. When you have a cold traffic offer, like a webinar, you should always lead them away from pain instead of into pleasure. So the title of it should be mistake oriented. 3 reasons people stay stuck when trying to grow their life coaching business. 5 reasons entrepreneurs fail in the first 2 years of business. You want to lead them away from pain. Why? Because they don't know you. They don't trust you yet. So more people will opt in out of self-interest to your webinar. You would get higher opt-ins because people would trust that you would take them away from pain as opposed to trust that you will lead them into pleasure. That's why when people run ads and it's like, I'm gonna show you how to make $1 million in 12 months, and you see in the comments it'd be like cap, because everybody like, why would you show me that? But if you said, I'm gonna show you the 5 mistakes that people are making when pursuing that out of self-interest, I'm gonna be nosy enough to find out what those mistakes are so I don't make them. So what happens is the reason why people end up over teaching is because they set it up wrong to begin with. You promised them something you shouldn't have never promised them. So now your content has to match your promise. And you're not helping them because guess what? If they were the person that could make $1 million in an hour from you teaching them, they already be doing it. So you set you and them up for failure. That's why it's not working. It got nothing to do with gatekeeping.
That's good.
Zero.
That's good.
It's teaching the wrong thing at the wrong time.
That's good. And this next question is from Cherie, and she was like, my brand is me. Not sure what that means. Is a brand a list of skills or talents or personality?
So a brand
That's a great
question. A brand represents a story that people tell themselves when they identify with it. A brand represents a story that people tell themselves when they encounter it, right? So when people think of Bryan Adamson, okay, I'm gonna ask you. When you think of Bryan Adamson, what do you think? What's like rapid fire? What's some of the first thing that come to mind?
Coach, business, entrepreneur, millionaire, teacher, believer, fresh. So yeah, that's what I got. Those are rapid fire.
Cherie, that's what I mean by my brand is me. Here's where a lot of people go wrong. They make their business their brand. Problem with that is if I have a crafting company and I brand it, and then I have a beverage company and then I brand it, and then I have I'm an author, and then so what happens is when you brand a business, then you got to start all over with your brand every time.
Mm.
As opposed to everything you just said about Bryan Adamson. This is how I go from teaching real estate for 6 years. Somebody's still asking real estate questions, right? November, I never talk about real estate again. And yet we got a whole coaching business full of coaches, consultants, and experts. Why? Because I started talking to them. And because of the integrity that I built up in my personal brand, I never had to change channels. So I didn't have to start over. But what happens is people make the mistake of branding their businesses instead of themselves. So you got 7 different Instagram, 7 different Facebook. It's crazy. Elon Musk, how is it that he got Tesla, but he also could take people to the moon and they trust him to do both? They trust him to drive his vehicle and they trust him to take him to outer space. Why? Because of the brand, the personal brand that he's built, his track record that he's built. So you want to brand yourself, and your brand should exemplify all of your brand values, so that when people know that your name is tied to anything, then it's got to be good. Is Magic Johnson only known for the Lakers? Most people don't even know he was a basketball player at this point. But he owned the LA Dodgers, the LA Lakers, the Washington Commanders, soccer team, right? Was a partner in Starbucks in his early years. Because Magic Johnson is the brand. And what do people know? That he's a business mogul that wins everywhere he goes. So they keep betting on him.
It's good.
Okay. So Cherie, let me know if that answered your question. Laquana said cigars. That's in there too. Better believe that. That's in there.
And then MS has another question. They said, for credibility, do you recommend writing an ebook when you do not have a following yet, and then a webinar? Want to enter the social media space in the right way, leading with authority. In my experience, it's so funny because I'll say something real quick and then you can answer. But when she said, or when MS said, because I don't know if that's a he or a she, I don't want to mistake that. When they said want to enter the social media space the right way, I said the same thing to Brian when I first met him, and he told me one thing. He was like, cut the camera on and start talking. That's how he told me to enter it the right way. And it may be different for you. So I'm just saying the advice he gave me, because I wanted to enter it the right way. He said, cut the camera on. Like, that's how you enter social media the right way is to cut the camera on. That's what he told me. And even in a quick story, I went to go get food the other day, and I see one of my old friends from high school, and he was like, yo, I've been seeing all your content, bro. And like, you have no idea how much perfect timing your videos come up. Mind you, I took like a little break from even posting because my electronics stopped working. So it's so funny because when I was doing it, nobody was telling me they were seeing it. Then when I stopped posting it, everybody's like, yo, I see your work and you're doing a great job. And this is the most feedback I've ever got on my content. But it's like, it's so funny when I'm not caring about it being seen, it gets seen. But that's just my little 2 cents on that. But yeah, you can finish up and talk
No,
about
that's good, bro. You spot on. It's funny people fail to, and this is something
shit.
Mike Khan, who's on here, has been adamant about since he's coming to our purview last week at the challenge, where he goes out of his way to make sure he gives people like credit, adoration, gratitude, which is uncommon, and he knows that it is, which is why he makes a constant attempt at doing it. Because to your point, you put out content every day, nobody mentioning nothing. Let you disappear for a few days, and they like, where your content been at?
Right.
Right? It's
Right.
we show appreciation to people backwards in society. That's the equivalent of a backhanded compliment. Like, so was it helping you? Would you
Right.
like me to keep doing it? Because while I'm doing it, it'd be helpful to know if it's helping you in some kind of way. Like that feedback would be awesome. Or you just trying to check me and hold me accountable to some standard that you created for me. Like, let me know which one it is so I could get back to it, right? Uh, but the question specifically was,
Do you recommend, for credibility, do you recommend writing an ebook when you do not have a following yet and then a webinar?
yeah,
She wants to enter the social media space the right way, leading
yeah.
with authority in my experience.
So I just put this post up the other day, and I'm sure it pissed a lot of people off, but that's kind of why I put it up too, though. I wrote a tweet that said, "Stop writing books if you don't know how to sell them." Today, with the use of AI, everybody authors, right? Like bro, it's almost like sickening to me how many people lead in with that now, like that they're authors. Bro. I'm not mad at you. Go write your book. But what I am saying is, if the goal is for other people to benefit from it and you don't know how to sell it, don't nobody care you wrote 8 books. You ain't made no money and don't nobody got your books in their hand. That's a freebie. That ain't really the answer to this question, but I wanted to say that again.
That's
Probably
good.
piss more people off, but it's necessary. But the ebook piece, here's what I would tell you. The best way to build a credibility and in authority is to actually help somebody. I'm building far more authority and credibility right now for this hour that I'm just loosely answering questions than I ever would by having an ebook.
100%.
Because I'm actually just helping people. So people know I have the authority and credibility because I'm just helping them. So my recommendation to you would be just help people. Build your authority by helping people. But the ebook don't give you credibility though, because AI could have wrote it for you. You see what I'm saying? Like
Right.
gone are the days where a book gives you authority. No, not anymore. Why you think so many people, whenever they launching a book now, you see them on a Breakfast Club, You see them, they go podcast surfing, right? They're even pastors, Mike Todd, Tim Ross, they put out they release books and they go to the Breakfast Club. Why? Because because they have to communicate their credibility. Just writing the book ain't good enough no more. AI can write it. That serves no, that lends you no credibility, in my opinion.
Mm.
Because they have to believe that you can help them before they even get the book for you to help them. So my opinion is the fastest way to build a credibility is I help my people in real estate over the years. Everyone wants something for nothing. Well, look, I hate to tell you the truth, but that's the only thing I can tell you. That's a you problem, not them. Because I can promise you, it ain't nobody around me showing up wanting something for nothing. I presented myself and communicated in a way that everybody know. Not only is it going to cost them, it's going to cost them tens of thousands of dollars to work with us. It costs what it costs to get where you want to get. So, and I'm not saying that to beat you up, but I am saying that it it nobody gets to play victim for not getting paid. That means that you just don't have things set up the right way in your business infrastructure to make it very clear to the people that if they want your help, they got to get paid. You got to get paid. If they want to get paid, you got to get paid.
That's good.
Right? I see the fruit of my advice when there's success. Now I want to know how to get compensated with a master class in the program. Got it. Yeah, no, that's good. So the first thing is you got real life case studies that you help people have success. That's amazing. So now what you need to do is go leverage them and go have them give you testimonials based on the help that you provided for them. That's step number one. Go these testimonials from these folks that you help will go a lot further than any ebook that you could write. Trust me when I tell you, in the form of credibility. Okay. That will be their compensation to you. Hey, look, since I did this for free, here's what I need you to do. I need you to record me a video letting people know how I helped you. What was your success as a result of my help? And that's it. Then you could take those pieces of content and start leveraging them for credibility, posting them on social media, putting them in advertising, putting them in your marketing flow. That's going to lend you a lot more credibility than writing an ebook. That's real social proof. Okay. And then after that, you let people know what is free. Okay, I'm gonna let people know what is free. What is free is this YouTube live right now. Okay. What is free is all the content you can go and find, which by the way, we spend thousands of dollars a month to put out free content for you on all platforms, 6 days a week. We missed 5 days of posting in 7 years. Lost my IG account, started all over in 2022, same thing. We just keep doing it. Thousands of dollars a month to put out free content for y'all. Come to a master class, that's free. Everything after that's gonna cost you. Everything else. Can you pick my brain? Nope. You pick your nose. I don't. My brain ain't to be picked. That's not how it's set up. It ain't set up like that. Can I just get some of your time? Nah, I really prefer not to. That's why we have programs that are structured so I can predict my time. I just don't hoard it out loosely. So even that I'm not interested in. I would much rather just get on a call with my mastermind clients every other Wednesday for an hour and a half, 2 hours, and just go deep with them. Right? Because it's predictable. I know my schedule now. I control my time like this. And the people that need to get it from me are getting the best of me because of that. I know that I'm doing every 2 p.m. with praise on Thursdays. Like I know what I'm doing. So again, we can't we don't get to play victim for not getting paid, man. That's a you problem.
Listen, man. I don't know what type of gift or skill you got, but every time we talk, your bag get deeper. I don't know what that is, man. Listen, every time we talk, your bag get deeper, man. But that goes to you being excellent, bro. Like you don't stop doing that. You just keep adding, you keep growing, you keep learning. So that's why, like for me, like and I would even tell them, I'm always gonna shout out Believers in Business. If y'all want to join Believers in Business, if you are a believer in business, I will highly, like 1000% you join that. Like that's, y'all think this is clarity? Wait till you get on a coaching call and he got time to really sit with you. Like your whole life's gonna change. But yeah, that just speaks to your excellence, bro. I just
And bro, and the fact that that community is $49 a month is still baffling to me, even.
right,
Right.
right.
So
But with you, you as you were, because something, it's so funny when you be getting props and downloads, it's like I'll be getting the same thing. But you were talking about how your book is either 2 pages or 25 chapters, and you know how in the Bible there's more popular books, and then there's some books that you won't ever want to bring up. That's kind of what you remind me of.
I read the book of Haggai last night or the night
Right,
before. It was
right,
4 chapters. You know, it was 2 pages. Okay.
right.
I
But
could have not never read that in my life and been okay, just so you know, too. If you was waiting for the commentary behind it, I could have not never read that and been okay in life, just so you know.
right, but that goes to say, right? He put that in there for a reason. That's a book,
Yeah, no, it was a reason.
right?
It was a reason.
Right.
Yeah.
So people aren't going to be like, in the book of Haggai it says this, and that. But that goes to show the type of person. Because when we were talking about popularity versus influence, there's books in the Bible that are more popular. There's other books in the Bible that have just more influence, right? And with you, it's like I think you're one of those books in the Bible that's very influential, but it's not a popular one. Like it just hits straight home to the core. I'm not trying to get convicted, so I'm not reading that book. Like, because if you read if you read certain books, you won't get convicted the entire chapter. And with you, it's like
the book of James, for instance.
right.
Yeah.
So it's like, and with you, that's what you do. Everything you're saying is like convicting me in the best way, because I heard this a pastor say God's challenges are his compliments. So everything you say is like challenging the inferior mindset that I've lived in. But it's a compliment because it's like there's more in you. You know what I'm saying? So I'm saying this because I recommend all of you join Believers in Business. You can never know enough. And I heard this quote that I literally was living in, and it says, "Don't let what you do know get in the way of what you don't know."
Mm-hmm.
So I just don't want y'all to do that. But yeah, I just had to say my 2 cents on that, because your bag get deeper every time we talk,
For sure.
and it's insane.
I appreciate that. You know, 2 things I attribute that to. One, we pray before we do every one of these, right?
Right.
That's a secret weapon. Um, but the scripture talk about how the Holy Spirit can only pull out of you what you put in you.
Talk about it.
So a lot of times when you say my bag is deep, bro, I learned so much that I don't remember what I learned. It's not until the appropriate time where he needs to convey something that
Time
he
out.
just go and dig through the files and find it and pull it out, and I'll be like, oh
Time-
yeah, I forgot that was in there.
I don't think they heard you. Time out. Time out. Time out. You gotta say that again. You said you learned so much you forgot what you learned.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure.
That's insane, bro.
For sure. Yeah.
That
I learn every day, bro. Seriously.
if y'all didn't get none,
I learn I intentionally learn every day. So I don't remember what I learned
time
a
out.
lot of the time.
If y'all don't get anything from this call, get that. Get that. What does it say in Proverbs? And all that getting, get what? Understanding. That's what you just said. That's insane, bro. You know how many people intentionally don't learn every day?
I do. A lot.
And you're saying you intentionally learn every day. That means, and Sunday, even though it's Sabbath, you still got to go to church and learn. So you you learn 7 days a week. That's insane, bro.
Bro, Sunday, I learn more on Sundays. So every week, okay. So just so y'all, okay. So for the last almost 3 years, I take a Sabbath every week. I do mine Sunday because that's the day it makes sense. So on Sunday, I go to, sometimes we physically go to church, sometimes we watch virtually. When that's done, whatever that is, then I go outside on the lanai and I probably had 3, 4 cigars over the course of an 8 hour period. And I'm watching sermons, I'm watching podcasts, I'm listening to audiobooks. Like that's what I do on my Sabbath to recharge my battery every Sunday. So although I learn incrementally every day, I really veg out on Sunday. So I'm refueling myself in all different areas. You know what I mean? I'm refueling myself spiritually, I'm refueling myself emotionally, and then I'm refueling myself intellectually. So that's what I mean. I literally I learned so much that I don't remember until it comes time for me to remember something and he'll pull it out of me in an open format like this. Now I take notes. I I I try to as much as I can like um compartmentalize those things by which I learn and I put them in different places based on where I know I'm gonna need to pull from if I got a challenge coming up, if I got a speaking engagement, if I'm doing so I got files in my phone to where I put certain stuff, but as a general consensus, what I'm saying is that there's just still so much learning take place. It's impossible for me to remember everything I learned.
That's it. Listen, that might be one of your secret. That is your secret weapon. I'm taking that right now. I want to learn so much. I don't even remember. I'm just learning. Like that's insane.
Yeah,
That's insane. And it speaks to your humility as well because obviously I know you don't brag about it, but you have two things on your shoulders that can speak for your proof.
yeah,
So you don't even got to be doing that. You like, man, you to people them getting those awards, you made it. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
You don't move like that. So
Mhm,
that's kudos to you, bro. Like
mhm.
that's why I consistently give you your flowers because when they say remain a student, I truly see that in you. Like truly,
Oh, bro, I got to. But here's what
truly.
here, but it go back to what the question Mike asked about how do I consistently deliver messaging on mission? The reason I learn so much is because I know what my mission is. I can't, bro, listen to me. I can't show up every Thursday and regurgitate the same information. Like I can't be that guy. If God has appointed me and anointed me to feed people, then I got to be fed, well fed, so that I can make sure that other people are well nourished.
Insane. Listen, man. Let me let's answer this last question. um and where is it? Relationship coaching with the Christ lifestyle. He said, "How do you know if it's the price point or over teaching?" Um, yeah, B, you went off today, but I want to answer this question to make sure we answer all the questions in here. He said, "How do you know if it's the price point or over teaching?"
Yeah, I think so. Two things. If it's the price point, so I'm gonna say something principle, and then I'm gonna say something practical. The principle thing is this: price is only an issue in the absence of value. Everybody has bought something that they couldn't afford at some point in time. Everybody. Everybody has made some purchase in advance of having the money. Whether they borrowed it from somebody, whether they used it on a credit card, everybody has done that. So what does that mean? That everybody is conditioned to make a purchase if the value or the perceived value is high enough. They've done it. So price is only an issue in the absence of value. I can't afford it is a lie. I'm not putting myself in position to afford it may be true, but I can't afford it is a lie. Because the same way you figured out how to go pay for that Christmas gift, and the same way you figured out how to go take that trip you couldn't afford, and the same way you figured out how to do all them things, you can go figure that out if it's important enough. So I can't afford it is a lie. So that's the principal thing. that you have to understand. So if people not buying your thing, it ain't because they can't afford it. I don't think it's the price. I think that the value is not illustrated well enough to make them want to afford the price. Because oftentimes when people are selling things, they're selling them the process and the pieces on how they help them, as opposed to the payoff that they get as a result of them helping them. People not paying you to come do more work. They're not paying you to get on weekly calls. They're not paying you to be able to text you. They're not paying you to how many videos they got to watch. They're not paying you about the Slack channel. They're not paying you for none of that. They're paying you because they got a problem, and whatever your process or solution is should be able to fix their problem. So if you're talking to them about how you fix their problem as opposed to what it looks like on the other side of getting a problem fixed, then they're not going to see the value to pay you. If I'm coming to you because I'm trying to make more money and all you talk to me about is all the work that I got to do in your program, I'm exhausted and I don't want to do that. I want to give you my money because I want you to make my life better and I want you to tell me about how my life going to be better. Okay, so look, the cost is $10,000. If you do everything that we designed for you in this program over the next 6 months, based on results from other clients, you should be able to go out and make anywhere between $70,000 and $100,000. Oh, okay. So now, if I got the option to pay you $10,000 to make $100,000 in 6 months, I understand what the value is. So okay, let me ask everybody here: would you give somebody $10,000? And in 6 months you get $100,000? Would you do that deal?
100%.
Everybody would. That got a post and some common sense on here. But would you give somebody $10,000 to hear about all the modules that they get to go through, the Slack channel, that they do a book reading every day together? Like, would you pay somebody $10,000 to hang out with them in that capacity and look at a bunch of videos?
No.
Of course, nobody will want to do that. So oftentimes it's hardly ever your price. We sell mentorship programs that go up into the 6 figures. It ain't because everybody run around rich, but we know how to illustrate to them the value and the payoff that they get as a result of spending the money. That be the problem, bro. People just having the wrong conversation about their thing, because they're talking about the parts that's most important to them. Why? Because they're the ones that labored over creating the courses and the recording the modules and all the studio time and all the curriculum. So they're talking to people about that part because that's the part that they labored over. But that person didn't labor over that. That's not what's important to them. I always make the example that if I'm trying to go to the Maldives or the Fiji, my travel agent gonna send me the water bungalows, not the 28-hour flight with 3 legs to look at. Now, because the water bungalows are so attractive to me, I'm willing to endure the 28-hour flight and 3 legs, but you better not lead with that, because I'm not paying $15,000 first class because I want to go get on the flight. I'm trying to be as comfortable as I can to endure the flight to get to them water bungalows. But that be the problem. Most of the time, people talking about the flight instead of the bungalows and wonder why their thing not selling.
That's great. Listen.
And speaking of which, I got a 3:30 call with a potential client, so we're gonna have to wrap this one up, champ.
Yeah, for sure. And Trisha White, there is a link for the Believers in Business, Brian. If you don't mind resending it in the group chat. I mean, in the live chat.
Look, everybody, www.believersinbiz.com. I'm about to put this in here one more time, and then I gotta jump.
Yes, sir. Never mind, she found the link. All right, yeah. Listen, B, I appreciate you, everyone. I appreciate y'all for asking these questions. Keep pouring in these questions, B. You know how I feel about you, man. Thank you so much.
Of course, man. Y'all keep bringing this heat, man. I love this. Keep bringing those questions. We're gonna knock them out the park. And look, be here next week, because I'm gonna be in Dominican Republic the following week. So do not miss next week. Stay locked in. And if you're tired of the appetizer and you want the full entree, find me on social media, DM me on Instagram, because you know this YouTube thing is kind of tricky when you're trying to message people directly. But just send me a DM, man. Let's talk. See how we can help you. Okay.